Well, good morning and welcome to another edition of Expert Alert. I'm your host, Jim Tabor. This is where we bring in experts from different types of businesses along the Gulf Coast, give you some great tips and ideas about how they work or how you can do your job a little bit easier. And today we have with us Russell Oakes, who is in charge of millworks at OS Lumber over in Ocean Springs on Government Street. Good to have you on the show again.
Thank you.
And
glad to be back.
Well, we're going to talk today. I mean, you're seeing a lot of people that are doing, kind of do-it-yourself projects at home, or they got people coming in and doing it for them, talking about decking, right, doing decks, which there's so many different ways that you can do one. And if you would, talk about some of the things about that, the type of lumber and that you should use and everything.
Yeah, well, we are seeing a lot of people doing the do-it-yourself projects. They're doing decks and fences and painting and just all kind of things that they can do at the house to freshen the house up since they've been sitting at home for a year. So yeah, decks are a big thing, and everybody wants to be outside now too. You want to take advantage of those outdoor spaces. So we're seeing a lot of that. And some things to look at is, if you're going to do it yourself, going somewhere where you've got some people with some knowledge that can guide you to buy the right product, so you only have to do it, once and not come back again and do it later.
Do you have any kind of blueprints?
We don't really have any blueprints. Yeah. We can guide some folks in design.
Right.
Especially if they can bring in, say, a house plan or a
some
drawing
in the backyard
or something. Yeah, just something to give us to go with.
And there's going to be a difference, I'm sure, whenever you start building one of these things, whether you're building something that's just right off the ground, or it's going to be a few feet off the ground,
or even second story.
That is true. Yeah, I've seen some of those as well. So you've got to have the proper lumber. You've got to, as far as I did one at my house a few years ago.
Right.
So you got to dig the holes. You got to put the posts down in there. You got to make sure they're level. You got to put the concrete in there. Let it be set. So there's a lot that goes on to it.
Oh yeah, yeah, and you can find out very quickly that this might be over your head. But if you do decide to move forward with it and do it yourself, we can definitely give some guidance or some recommendations on somebody to help you build it.
Talk about levels as far as posts in the ground or joists close to the ground.
Well, different components, whether they be in contact with the ground or close to the ground or maybe even elevated, are going to have different levels of treatment. So your post that you're going to bury in concrete needs to have more chemical in it, more chemical retention, than say the joist that is going to be a foot or two off of the ground. So we can kind of guide as to what needs to go where.
Decking material. There are, some people think about, I don't want to spend a whole lot of money on it and a thing like that, and probably not something you want to scrimp on.
Right. So there's different levels of decking that you can use, and the go-to for a long time has been the pressure-treated pine radius edge decking that everybody has seen everywhere. And it's always been at a very good cost price point. But as everybody has heard in the news lately, the cost of lumber is going through the roof, whereas a lot of the synthetics have kind of maintained where their pricing was. They've increased a little bit, but not as drastically as lumber has.
Well, I was floored whenever I asked you, a friend of mine is needing some new fencing. I remember you used to go to the store, you could get a 6-foot fence board for like $1.59, $1.69, and you said they're like $3 now.
They've doubled at least.
If you can get them.
If you can find them.
Which is the hard thing to do.
Right.
But talk about synthetic decking.
Okay, so as a comparison, I've got a piece of just the basic treated pine decking here, a little over $1 a foot, and then you get into these entry-level synthetics, and they may be around $2 a foot. Whereas before it might have been 3 times the cost. Now you're looking at a little less than twice the cost. So that margin has shrunk drastically for what you're going to get with some of the synthetic deckings.
Now, what is the positive thing? I mean, why would you want to use synthetic decking over, just say, your treated pine?
You're going to have a lot of different options on color, which is put on at the factory, so you're not having to come back and stain the wood deck.
Which is what I had to do with mine.
Right.
I did the wood, and I had to go and buy the stuff and stain it.
Yeah, and then you had to come back and stain it again later, and then again later. So you do this once and you're done. And they've all got warranties on different levels of how much or how little they'll fade over time.
Right.
Most of them have 20, 30 years of fade resistance. Not saying that they won't fade at all. I've yet to see anything out there that doesn't.
Well, of course, with the sun that we have down here
exactly,
on the coast.
Exactly, but they do stay fairly consistent.
Yeah. Now, do they ever use recycled materials in building?
They do. They do. And some of these, they will use recycled plastic bags. The clear plastic shrink wrap is one of their favorites because it doesn't add any color into their material. And when they do have to use, say, the blue grocery bags or the yellow grocery bags or whatever, a lot of them have a cap over them now, so you never even see that core material where all the recycled product goes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and they also use recycled wood from furniture factories.
Oh, okay.
So all the scraps that come out of making a couch or a rocking chair go to these guys. They grind it up into a very fine powder, mix it with the recycled plastics, and extrude that core material. And since they had a hard time with keeping a consistent color there with all of the different plastics they put in, most of them have gone to like a PVC cap over top. So it's a very consistent color now.
Okay. What about these three? These are some different samples that you have up here on the front. What they call exotic decking.
Well, we get into some exotic stuff. So this is all imported South American hardwoods. There's a few different types. There's one, an Ipe, a tiger wood, and a Kumara. So a little bit different grains, different price points, but you're getting back to a real wood product. So there is.
And it's going to be more expensive, and
it's actually fairly close to the higher end synthetics.
Okay.
So but back on those, you've got a all PVC in this one. So there's not a lot of recycled material there. But again, a very consistent board. But you're getting into a similar price point.
What kind of wait period are they talking about getting some of this wood in if somebody's wanting to do that?
It is all over the board. Some of this material is on hand at our suppliers we can have in 2 or 3 days. Some of it may be 4 or 5 months.
Wow.
There's been a shortage of resins that is affecting all kinds of production, and they're affected by it as well.
Talk about just some different accessories for for doing your deck.
Well, once you've got the deck built, depending, like we were talking about earlier about elevation, if you're up off the ground any kind of distance at all, you're going to want to talk about railings. So you can either go, if you're in this mode right here, you may be putting up just the 2x2 balusters and a handrail. If you're getting into the upper levels, you want something a little nicer, and we've got some very nice aluminum rail systems to use, whether it be cable, which is really easy to see through if you've got a nice view to look at. There's even some glass rails that you can use.
Wow.
As well as the typical like iron baluster look.
I was going to say, I've seen some pictures of the rail. The top of the rail is wood, but in between is like some rebar.
Right. There's different ways of doing that, whether it be rebar. There's a few companies that are making it out there, calling it rod rail. So you got a lot of flexibility on that, just depending on your design.
Okay, and PVC rails as well. I mean,
you can do PVC.
And so it's all, I guess, what your imagination can come up with.
It is.
And that's why they can come talk to you and say, well, I'd like for this to look like this and everything. So
yeah, and we've got displays of a lot of this stuff in the office, so you can actually see it and touch it. And some of the projects that we've done are visible from the street. We can give you an address and say, yeah, go look at this job or go look at that job.
And I'm sure you have plenty of pictures that somebody said, well, I like a deck, but I don't know what I want.
We have started to put together an album of some of our nicer projects, and that's coming along nicely. A lot of that's on our website.
And you can do, I mean, small or large. I'm sure you could, like the one that I did, was like 12 foot by 12 foot. But I mean, you could get real big, or however you want to, put your whole outdoor kitchen on there.
Oh yeah, the outdoor kitchens have been tremendously popular. So you can have a whole cooking area out there, and refrigerators and grills and just whatever you want.
Yeah, good time for the summertime. Lighting,
solar or low voltage. Just the sky's the limit. Whatever you can dream up, and we can kind of guide folks through that.
Yeah. Is there any, as far as low voltage, is there anything better between low voltage and solar? I mean, solar, of course, you need the sun to power them. Right. And if you've had a couple of cloudy days in a row, it ain't going to light up at night.
It may not, but if you're, a distance from the house, all you do is drop that solar light on top of your post and you're done. And you don't need an electrician to wire anything.
That's awesome. Well, if you're, looking to put a new deck out back, you may have to take a little bit of time to do it, but what you need to do is go by and see Russell Oakes and the gang at OS Lumber. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you much, Jim.
All right, another edition of Expert Alert with OS Lumber. They'll be back again next month with some more great tips for you for your home improvements.
If you have a question for any of our experts, go to WLOX.com and click on Expert Alert. For a list of any of our upcoming experts, go to WLOX.com and click on Expert Alert.